2, 3, 4.
Oh, yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. You know what it is. It's them kids. And what?
Gabe.
Sorry.
Are you sure you
And
know?
9-2. Hold on a second. 9-2-5s, but wait. What?
Are you sure you know what it is?
Yeah.
This is a different podcast, buddy.
No, do I need to start over?
You're real close.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Can I see if I can give it a try?
Oh, wait. Where am I?
Let me tell you where you are. Good morning, my brothers and sisters. On this, our 99th episode of the Good Morning Guys podcast. Thank you so much for joining us on this fine morning, afternoon, evening, or night as we discuss the game of life amidst the other games we love to watch and play. I am one of your hosts, the Brazilian Mountaineer and Transition Ninja, Lucas Ham Swisher. Also with me, the judge, jury, and executioner of fake news and spoilers and Long John Silver's, the belated birthday boy himself, Patrick Novacell.
What's up?
Yes, what is up with you? On his left and my right, I'm sorry I asked that question and didn't wait.
Did you want me to answer that one?
No, it's just a formality. The volleyball and beast of the East who can make you laugh in 3 words or less or your money back, Ronnie Johantis.
Hi.
And then our final member, I'm sorry, I meant to say hi. Hi back. And our final member of the GMG Quadfecta. He's got music in his heart, Doctor Who on his brain, and La Coretta in his old stomago. The master switch flipper himself, Marc Boucher.
What's up?
What's up, buddy? What up?
What up?
All right. Yeah, we could go forever. I'm not going to do it. All right. Now, as you already know, because you heard him try to hijack the show, we're actually a quintfecta tonight because of our special guest. To some, he is the voice of Drakul on the free-to-play action shooter Crucible. To others more recently, he is that sweet, sultry voice that has welcomed you back into this year's season of the Major League Baseball. The Major League Baseball? I don't think that's what they call it. Major League Baseball. But to us, he will always be Darius Rucker's doppelganger, Toby Mac's hype man, a man who loves himself a mall, hates rewatching movies, and is one of the founding hosts to the best darn podcast in the business. Woo! Married to the games, we welcome the chubby ninja himself, Gabe Patillo.
Hi.
That was beauteous.
What an intro.
Welcome.
Thanks. Man, thank you for all the kind words. My gracious.
Man. So good.
Somebody's been doing their research.
I really, you know what?
Or maybe just listening to the podcast.
All the guests I've had on the show,
years.
I had to do no research for that introduction. I was like, yep. Actually, the only thing I had to research was I totally forgot what type of game Crucible was. No offense.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, wait,
right.
I know it's free to play, maybe? There's shooting involved, but that's not really a shooty free to play game.
Right.
Kind of close. But anyway.
You guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
On your 99th, the eve of your 100th episode.
I know. It's perfect time.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate the call.
We appreciate you responding to the call.
Hey, listen, that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Getting all those wires to line up. But it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Gabe, can you, for the 2 or 3 people that have no idea who you are, can you give us a quick introduction, maybe cover the things that I didn't cover, just to introduce yourself, how you're related to our podcast? You kind of know a little bit about it.
Shoot, yeah. I mean, you said everything pretty much. The only thing you left out is that I'm a daddy of 3 babies.
You are
a husband to my wife, my beautiful wife Jenny, and yeah, man. And I guess we are you guys' uncle.
I think we call it that.
I mean,
yeah,
you could be.
I would say that you guys are our nephew podcast.
All right, I can see that.
One of our nephew podcasts, and we count ourselves blessed and honored to be able to encourage other people to do what we do. You know, at Married to the Games, we love our community, obviously. And then when our community goes and they get together and then they form things, it's the freaking best ever. It's like showing somebody a really good movie and them loving it. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, I nailed it on that one. And so the fact that you guys got together and did a podcast, you know, there's obviously other ones out there, you know, the PSVG family and everybody over there. it's dope, man.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to be here.
We are so glad to have you. It is a privilege and a pleasure to have you on here. And, I don't remember what the saying is, but it has something to do with, copying or replicating is the best form of flattery, something like that.
Imitation.
Imitation. That's a
Serious
much better word.
form of flattery. Yeah.
Yes. And, just multiplying the love, multiplying the talking about games, talking about life, talking about, the ups and downs, family, everything. We're just glad to be a part of the conversation. And we're so fortunate and blessed to be your nephews.
Oh, man.
The fact that we've made it this long, you could ask Ronnie. He thought we wouldn't make it past a dozen.
Hey, that's what I thought about Married to the Games too. I was like, oh, we'll do like 3 of these things and then we'll quit. And here we are 410 episodes later.
Yeah, man.
And we're still rocking it.
You guys
That's
are
wild.
Yeah, it's fantastic. All right. Well, let's jump into What's New News, where we talk about what is new in our personal lives and around the world. But first, as I just falsely led us into What's News, we're not going to get into that. We're going to get into a little housekeeping as per the usual.
As is
tradition.
That's right. Housekeeping as is tradition. That lovely time where we offer towels, put mints on your pillows, also tip you off to the things you need to know, nothing more and nothing less. So guys, GMG 100 is just around the corner, especially since when this comes out, you will have 2 or 3 days max to be ready. And that's if you listen on day 1, the 10 of you that do that. So hope you're ready on Saturday, August 1st. Okay, at least a dozen. Baker's dozen. Patrick's shaking his head. He's like, come on, don't aim it so low. I'm like, all right, I'm sorry. Baker's dozen. Yeah. On Saturday, August 1st, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time and across a plethora of other time zones in South America and across Europe, we will be doing our second ever live stream, this time on YouTube. And of course, if you want a little bit of extra, you could join us for the pre-show starting at 8:41 sharp, because that's just how we roll. So feel free to join us.
Just go with it.
Yep. Just laugh. Just smile and wave. However, once we start that show at 9 o'clock, as always, as we never do, we will be still talking about the game of life amidst the other games we love to watch and play. We'll also be celebrating the past 99 episodes with you, talking about our favorite moments as hosts, with you, our joiners, answering questions, discussing many topics driven by you guys, also making some personal and GMG-centric announcements about the show and our Discord community moving into the future, along with giving away some merch and some prizes for those brave enough to join us on the chat. So, hope to see you live on YouTube Saturday, August 1st, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Be there or be square. Also, I mentioned Discord
or
earlier.
unless you're sleeping.
Right. If you're in Portugal like Hafa and his wife Joanna, and you last like 10 minutes, or you went to sleep 2 hours before we started, it's all good. It will be archived on YouTube so you can listen to it later. I did mention Discord earlier. It's a nice mix between a forum, Twitter, and Facebook. It's moving and grooving right now. We're always talking about the day-to-day, connecting with each other to compare notes on the latest video games, chasing foxes, and watching all kinds of fun entertainment, along with continuing the conversation beyond the show. It's easy and free to join and access on phone apps and web browsers if you're into that technological stuff. So please check out the link in the show notes or on our Twitter at the GMG Podcast to connect with us. And then finally, please feel free to rate and review us on the podcast service of your choice. Somehow it helps us reach a wider audience, as I think you hear every podcast say, but it definitely gives us that much needed feedback in doing what we do. And in less than a week, we hope to reach 50 reviews. Somehow, we believe in miracles for episode 100. So, if you have not done so,
Isn't somebody shaving something? Somebody shaving something,
I
right?
think
Somebody
so.
shaving?
Yeah, I believe it.
Hey,
That's
Pat.
what I'm talking about.
Hey, Pat.
Gabe, that's the idea man right now. Maybe that'll be the topic of the show.
Hit that review button,
That's right.
and then I'm gonna look like I am 22 years old,
Hey,
maybe 16.
not the
Who
worst
knows?
thing.
Mel will fall in love with you all over again. She'll be like, "Oh, look at that baby face. I haven't seen that since we were in daycare together." All right, so If you haven't done so, your significant other, your grandma, have not either, get on that device, throw some stars up there, 5 preferably, of course, and write a nice but honest review, and then watch and see the craziness unfold this Saturday. Woo!
Yeah.
All right. After all that, got the housekeeping out of the way. Now let the fun begin. What's new news? What's going on in your lives? What is happening? Let's see. I didn't think about it ahead of time. So you know what? Today is just guest's choice. What do you want to do, Gabe? Do you want to go first? Do you want to pick?
I say we let Ronnie go first.
Yes.
There we go.
Love it.
All right. I wish I did anything interesting this whole week since I'm in the leadoff spot here. No, so this week was kind of actually a nice, relaxing week for me. It's finally, I guess the weather finally in Ohio has gotten to where it's like at 9:30 p.m. or 10 p.m. it's bearable to have like a little fire pit like out in the backyard. So we took advantage of that this weekend. That is pretty much it. Baseball started finally.
Yeah, I was saying you had to bring that up.
I've been absolutely dying for this baseball, and the Reds, it's already over.
And we're done.
No.
Hey, listen,
they have-
I had a buddy come over last night, and he's a big Mets fan, and they lost like 14-1 last night. And so I think the punishment is right there with you.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, we won on opening day and then lost the next two to a crappy. wait a minute, Gabe. Who's your favorite team? Before I
I don't have a baseball team.
was gonna say, the crappy Detroit Tigers.
Not gonna fit me, Doc.
And currently they are losing like 6-0 to the Cubs. So it's been a horrifying start already. But I am glad it's back. It's just like the everydayness for me of baseball. Like I'll sit there and watch a game or pieces of a game like every night while I'm doing something around the house. So yeah, it's been good. On the gaming front, I pretty much am at a standstill on everything. Really, we beat Minecraft Dungeons, and I'm just kind of waiting on that new DLC to come out, which I think is like September sometime, maybe.
Oh, you played the new one already?
Yeah. So I played like the island, which was like the small expansion or whatever. But then, no, basically waiting on those other levels. And I'll go back into playing that because that game it was actually really good. So I appreciated that. But I actually started playing Grand Theft Auto 5 again, the storyline.
Oh, that old chestnut.
Oh, yes, the storyline. There you go.
I actually think it'll be probably like my third time playing through it. So, no, just really like that game. It's like kind of like just my stopgap to whatever game comes next.
Yeah,
that makes
there you
sense.
go.
Gotcha.
Yep.
You need
So that's
those
pretty much it
sometimes.
for me.
All right. Now,
Do I get
Ronnie,
to pick who goes?
you do, but real quick, follow-up question of Minecraft Dungeons. Are you like going to get all the achievements in that game? That would be...
You know me.
I just thought I'd ask just for fun. Fair enough.
No, I'm just not a huge like. I like the storyline of most games, and I like playing couch co-op. So those two things usually don't mean we're collecting, all the achievements or anything like that. So I literally take zero stock in like actual game completion. Like once I beat the storyline, I don't care if it says 61% completed. Like.
I know, but you keep playing it, you might accidentally get all the trophies or achievements. So you better be careful.
Ronnie, I'm looking at your trophy list right now. You just need 2 more trophies to get all of them.
Good gracious,
see my
2
trophies.
more. Yeah, he's a stalker.
You need to go for that, John.
All you need, man.
Do it.
What are the 2 trophies? Does it say?
You need to get the Iron Golem, which is just a random drop, or you can buy it at the camp. That's one of them.
Wait a minute, I
And
have an
then-
Iron Golem.
You have to use the Iron Golem, the Wolf, and the Llama.
At the same time?
Yep.
No,
they
just
stack
you-
on top of each other
just
like
have to use 'em.
a totem pole.
They
And
morph
then they
into
fight.
like some
Yeah, it's like
Megatron.
Power Rangers. With our powers
and
combined.
And then you also have to complete
Captain Planet.
the tutorial,
Oh, right.
which you should
You
have
didn't
done.
do the tutorial?
It's like 2 minutes.
I skipped
Wow.
the tutorial. Yeah, that sounds like me.
Man.
That's
That
for
sounds
babies.
like something I would have done.
Dude,
This
you
baby
totally should
stuff.
do
What are you
it.
talking about?
You're there.
Oh, so I don't have very much left in that game at all. That's awesome.
No, you can just turn it on and you have it.
Well, if I happen to swipe by that once the new DLC comes out, then, will I
you
go
would
back
get
to
that
do that?
close and
Probably
not get the achievement.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
All right, who do you want to choose, Ronnie?
Ooh. Lucas.
All right, bring it. Oh, right, I'm supposed
It's
to talk.
what you need to do.
Fair enough. Yep, that's what I need to do. I need to
That's
bring
your
it.
job.
Dang it, I forgot that again. Can you edit that out, Patrick? Thanks.
Got it.
All right. Guys, so here's what's been going on in life. And within this segment, I want to create a new segment.
Oh, Lord.
And this segment, Gabe, see, the thing is I like to treat segments like spaghetti, cooking spaghetti. You just toss it up at the wall, see what sticks, and to see what happens. And sometimes it sticks, sometimes it does not.
Is that a real thing?
Half the time, I forget anyways, so I probably won't remember this segment. But here's the segment, okay? I think some of you will be able to relate. This segment is called I'm Getting Too Old for This Stuff.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Yeah.
So, all right.
I
So,
already can relate.
I need you to
Lethal
picture this. Yeah, exactly. The
Danny
Swisher
Glover
version.
in on this.
Yep. So I visited a park with the kids this week. Last week I had been breaking our quarantine, not breaking it. They had been letting us kind of go out and about with masks and all that stuff. So I've been spending more and more time out of the house over the past 2 weeks with a mask, being safe, being respectful to others. But as a family, we decided to go to the park. And it's not just any park. We went to a park called Ibirapuera, and it is the Central Park of Sao Paulo. Like, it's just like Central Park in New York. It's very large. A good many people go to it. In fact, I think the first day they opened it, it was just for 4 hours from like 6 o'clock in the morning till 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, and like 11,000 people went to the park.
Wow.
It was
That's it?
nuts. We did not go that day. That was like,
Jeez.
I can't imagine what that was like. But we went to just go on a nice little walk to hang out. It was pretty relaxing. It wasn't too busy. I did see a couple birds, and I will say that I just all of a sudden felt the urge to follow them to see where they were going to lead me.
Of course.
Because I know there was a power up somewhere, some kind of samurai
It's like
weapon.
a random hot spring somewhere.
Yep, just like in Ghost of Tsushima. That's when you know
Yeah.
you've been playing just the right amount, when it affects you in real life. And so while doing that,
You're like, huh?
wait, what? James, you follow that bird. Tasha, you follow that other bird over there, because I know one of them's going to lead somewhere. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty
I'm going
much
to
what
follow
it
the
was.
wind. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like Wendy. Wendy. That's my wife's name's Mindy. Mindy, go like this. And I'll just follow it.
Yeah.
So the kids explored. They were, grabbing sticks, pretending they were lightsabers, and doing all those fun kid things. I also brought our mini drone that we have. That it's pretty small. It's definitely a mini drone, but it is bigger than what I think the mini Game Gear is going to be like. So that's a win. If it's
Jeez
bigger than
Louise.
that.
That's such a bad idea.
That's not much
It's
bigger.
such a bad idea.
It is. I just want
like-
to jab that Game Gear a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's going to be like playing one end of an HDMI cord.
It really is. What do I do with this?
Yeah, you're like, I can't even get my hands on this. How does this even work?
Oh,
My
I can't.
thumb is over the entire
I
thing.
think
Yeah,
I'm moving
exactly.
Sonic right. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh man. But anyway, so we had some mini drone time for like 20-25 minutes until what I predicted happened. My daughter got it caught in a tree.
Oh, jeez.
Thankfully, it was low enough. The branches were hanging low, and I could just grab it. But still, we all predicted what would happen with the mini drone, and I was right. I called it. So
Dude, those
nice.
drones make me so nervous. Like, I would
they're
hate to
so-
like lose it in a tree, or it loses signal and just drops somewhere.
Hit someone in the park in the side of the head.
Yeah, that would be
Where
horrible.
all of a sudden your right stick just stops working and it just keeps going
Yeah,
and
yeah.
going.
Well, last time we did it, my son hit his mom in the leg with the drone and drew blood. And so
Oh, man.
that was Mindy's prediction, that again her children were going to attack her with the drone.
And you continue to give the controller to them?
I mean, this time I was like hovering over them. Like I had my hand outside of their hands. I was not just walking away and
I mean,
letting
that's a
them
good
control
spot
whatever.
to be, right next to your kids. Because if you're like 10 feet away from them, it's dangerous.
Yeah,
That's
you're a
a
target.
dangerous zone
Yeah.
right there.
I
It was
love
bad.
that. I love that Patrick's like and you keep giving it to him when he just had like the caseless iPad or Kindle
thank you, Gabe.
going on.
You just got
Oh man,
Yeah, there's a lot of speck and plank going on in
Yeah,
that
but he's
situation.
not throwing the broken glass at me.
finally.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what my son said when he got to finally control the mini drone again. He's like, finally, it's been forever.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, I think after 10 minutes of being at the park, I wanted to take a nap. That's where I'm getting too old for this stuff started. And then right at the end, my son, we were about to leave, and my son walks by me, and he gives me this look. And I know that you guys that have boys, Patrick and Gabe, you know that look your son makes where he wants you to chase him, and it's like he's the gazelle and you're the lion, and you're like, well, I got to chase you now. And so,
Oh, really? That's not how I feel at all.
No.
They're like, Daddy.
No, I'm good.
I'm like,
I'm
Yeah.
Not after being out here all day.
I'm usually like that, but I had been sitting for a little while, and I was like, you know what? In my head, I was like, I'm just going to play one game of tag with them. And so I started to chase them. I caught my son, and then my daughter, she is the fast one. And so I went into fifth gear, like really started cooking. She goes around a tree, and I try to also go around a tree without stopping. My foot comes down on a pile of some leaves that are on some hard dirt, and my feet slip out from under me, and automatically gravity grabs my face and just drives it into the ground.
Amazing.
And I bust my lip like I've never busted my lip before. And thank the Lord, hallelujah, I had my mask on because it gave me the smallest bit of cushion that didn't let my teeth go through my lip. I was bleeding on the inside and the outside of my lip from my top and bottom teeth. It was a mess. And immediately,
you know what's gonna happen now. You talk about being too old. Now every time it gets cold, your lips are gonna hurt. You're like, see?
I know, yeah. I'd be like, oh,
Every time
coming.
the weather gets like this, man, my lip
I know it.
starts acting up.
Oh man. So yeah, I'm getting too old for this stuff.
I kind of wanted to see that though. Like that sounds like cartoon type stuff. Like slipping
It was
on a banana
cartoon
peel.
stuff. Yeah. I posted the picture on Discord, and people started putting GIFs up, and there was one GIF. I was like, yep. I showed it to my wife, and she's like, yeah, that's pretty much what you look like. She was really sad that she did not film it. I was kind of sad too because it was bad. Like I got up and I was like, I'm bleeding. She's like, no, you're not. And I pulled my mask off, and blood just started pouring down my face. She's like, oh, you're bleeding. I'm like, yep. Besides that, the family
awesome.
and I have been enjoying Minecraft adventures. It's been one of the best and worst weeks ever. Gabe, just to clue you in, our family, my kids and I are like addicted to Minecraft together. We're trying to recreate my in-laws' home that they just sold last year. They had a property that they owned for like 11, 12 years. And my kids and I were like, one day it's like, hey, let's build it in Minecraft. And so we've been doing that amidst other adventures for the past few months. And
That sounds sad.
it's kind of sad because it's they don't live there anymore, so it's very
Right,
nostalgic.
it's gone. Yeah,
it's gone, and
you're remaking the dog, and
oh yeah, except remaking the dog turned into making like 30 dogs because we discovered you could breed every animal, and so I think there was one week where my kids just bred every animal at least 20 times, and now we have just a bunch of animals everywhere. But this week my daughter found diamonds for the first time in the world, and she was on cloud 9, and then a day later she lost it. she lost everything she made. She made the stuff with the diamonds, and then she died in lava using the diamond pickaxe and lost it. She was very upset. She went from best day ever to the next day being, this is the worst day ever.
I hate this game.
I hate this stupid. And so that was pretty rough. And then at some point I had to become a cattle rancher because I needed leather. And so I started breeding cows. And then a day later I discovered that my kids are cow bandits, and they killed most of my cows when I wasn't around.
What in the heck?
Yeah, they play dirty. Like they just like when we're
You should have grounded them.
I should have. I'd be like, I'm grounding you in real life for what you did in a
Exactly.
pretend world.
Yeah.
Never again.
You're grounded from Minecraft.
Exactly.
Why did you ground
While
them?
I
They
play.
killed my virtual cows.
Yeah, exactly.
They killed Betty, and
Don't question my parenting.
that's right. And then this house, I don't think we're ever going to build the house. it's now been like 3 months, and they probably help me 10 minutes for every hour, and it's like herding cats, and it's kind of making me angry. So I'm just like, I started playing this to do this together as a family, and they're off already building their own houses. They're like, hey, Dad, look at my new house. I'm like, hey, why don't we finish what we started? I'm not frustrated. Not at all. So it's been fun. It's good times.
The more I hear people talk about Minecraft, the more it solidifies in my mind how much I don't like Minecraft.
Well, that's why I share it with you, Mark, so then you can live vicariously through us, and you have no need to play.
Mark, I was hoping you were going to say kids. You know, the more I hear people talk about kids, the more it just solidifies in my mind. I want no doggone kids.
Oh, I've had that conversation too. Like, my brother and sister-in-law, they just had a kid a few months ago, and I've seen and heard all the stuff that they've gone through, and they're like, "Oh yeah, children though, it's great." And I'm like, doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, strung out like they haven't slept in months.
Exactly. I don't know how you're drawing that comparison to awesome and children.
I enjoy my sleep. Sleep is nice.
Overrated. Sleep's for the weak. You know I'm kidding. You know I'm just talking as a man who's been just destroyed by kids that wake up at 5:30 in the morning.
Who hasn't slept in a decade. Yeah.
Internally, he's dead inside.
Yeah, pretty much.
He'd be like, the last time I slept, it was 97.
That's right. We didn't even get to Y2K yet. All right.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me about sleep. I'm getting too old for this stuff.
That's right. And that concludes I'm Getting Too Old for This Stuff segment. Now let's lead that right into Marc Boucher. How's it going for you, sir? Tell us about your adventures in the land of Apex Legends.
Before Mark goes, can I just add, I'm getting too old for this. I went on a walk today after work with Elizabeth.
There it is.
And she's like, okay, I want to walk for about 45 minutes at a pretty fast pace. And I'm like, all right. And I already knew it was going to be rough. But like we get like, I don't know, maybe 23 minutes in. And I was like, man, how long have we been walking? She's like, yeah, it's only been 23 minutes. And I was like, oh, no. I was like, I'm already, like, struggling to keep up pace. Like, she's tall. Her legs are long. Like, she is just killing me. So what ends up happening is I end up, like, for the next 20 minutes, following her from, like, I don't know, 6 foot distance like a stalker. Because I can't catch up.
She won't wait for you.
I can't catch up anymore. Like, I'm breathing heavy. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Which also doesn't help the situation. You're 6 feet behind her, breathing heavily.
Oh, yeah, I'm dying back there.
You have some people ahead of you like, hey, ma'am, are you
I
okay?
look like I'm trying to catch up with her because I am trying to catch up with her.
You're back there yelling, I said I would do this for 4 to 5 minutes. She's like, no, we said 45 minutes. No, 4 to 5 is what you said.
Yeah, I would have ran for 4 minutes to avoid this 45-minute walk.
I know that's right. That would have looked worse, though, you running behind her.
Oh, it would have been terrible. She is naturally a runner. Like, she likes to go out and run, and I am a big dude. Like, I don't look like I've ever ran ever. So,
can I tell you a joke? A dad joke that has something to do with that?
yep.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this big guy goes to the doctor, and he said, Doc, I'm having these terrible migraines. And the doctor's like, well, have you been drinking water, eating healthy? He's like, nah. He was like, but my mom told me that, you know, migraines run in the family. And the doctor said, no, sir, nothing runs in your family.
Dad joke and diss. Nice.
Yeah. Marc Boucher.
Yeah.
There you go. Tough act to follow, Mark.
Yeah, and I won't. Good night, everybody.
Ciao.
Nah, go ahead.
No, actually, you mentioned Apex. My time in Apex this past week has been surprisingly sparse.
What?
For me. Yeah, I did not play a whole lot of Apex in the past week. I've been super busy with all the stuff going on with work and my ministry responsibilities and things like that. So last week was kind of crazy. And then, of course, we had some little extra things that we did. We recorded a little spoiler cast, so that was a fun time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But no, a lot of my gaming time has been Ghost of Tsushima.
Yes.
And I've been very much still enjoying the world. Still in Act 1. I'm like, how
No shame in
long
that.
is Act 1?
Oh, man.
I'm right there with
You're
you,
not
brother.
alone. There's a lot of people still in Act 1.
Yep. But you've been in it long enough to understand that the foxes want you to fail. And they are constantly just hopping everywhere, waiting for you to screw up.
I haven't run into a disappearing fox yet, though. They've all stuck around for me. So,
I mean, my problem's been I've been running into foxes that jump over the most precarious areas and then watch me as I jump to my death and laugh at me.
you got some twisted foxes in your game.
I don't know what's going on. But I'm glad you haven't. I'm glad you're safe and sound.
Yep, my foxes are all nice. They want me to pet them, and they
Lucky
jump
you.
off when I'm done. But yeah, I've been very much enjoying the game and moving the needle on that. I think I'm getting pretty close to the end of Act 1. But man, I don't like going to hot springs. As much as like
A samurai butt.
as much as I like increasing my health, I do not want to see naked samurai butt. I really don't. But
Is that really the problem? You know exactly what is coming. Just look away for a second.
and I still always end up like, oh, okay. There's
surely it's
Lord
over by now.
Sakai's, you know.
And like Jen's just shaking it for him. It's like, whoa, where did that come from?
I thought you were supposed to be
It's
reflecting
only the
peacefully,
42nd time I've done this.
Yeah.
Whoops.
It's like meditate on twerking. You're like, okay.
I do think it's funny the fact that they thought it was a good idea to just show his butt over and over and over and make like how many hot springs are there? I've only done a few.
Yeah, there's like 30 or something,
Good
something like
gracious.
that. But the thing that doesn't worry me or bother me is it's not the butt. It's what he meditates on. So there's times where it's just like he's naked in a hot spring and he's like, I want to meditate on my dad or my uncle. And I'm like, yeah, dude, you can probably think about something else.
Y'all are crazy.
meditate on death. Okay. Which he totally does that. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
makes sense.
But no, I've been very much enjoying the game. Other than that, like, there's nothing too different going on. Sunday we did have a graduation party for our youth group, for all the graduates in our youth group. And yeah, here it is, July. But that old COVID, that old Voldemort, kind of messed some things up, and so they weren't able to actually have that time to celebrate. So I wanted to give them that time. So we had cake and ice cream and snacks and all that, and played some Jackbox, which was awesome. Yeah, they absolutely love the Jackbox games. We played some Fibbage, which they enjoy that. But yeah, it was just kind of funny because like literally we're having this graduation party for, and one of the girls, she's literally leaving to go meet her roommate at college. So there's like no, it's like, well, we're kind of past this. We're kind of in college at this point. But, I wanted them to at least have that time since they didn't have the proper graduation festivities.
Yeah.
Better late than never, though.
Yeah.
That's
true.
cool that you did that. That's just terrible. I know that Mindy's, talked a lot about how this affected her seniors, and even for her school that she's a part of, a number of teachers and families left. The superintendent, he left for the U.S. Due to some family issues, and he's not coming back. And there's a number of them we're never going to see again, and they got little to no send-off. It was just like, well, that's it.
Man.
This is a tough year for graduates and people in schools and
Right.
stuff.
Yep, absolutely. But those were the main things out of the ordinary for me. But yeah, just moving the needle and Ghost. I will be getting back into Apex. That is for dang sure.
I don't believe you. You've left it. You failed it.
That's your problem.
You've betrayed it. No, it's not. I'm good. I've left it a long time ago. Twice.
You're my brother, Anakin. You betrayed. Sorry. But yeah, that's been pretty much my week. So, Patrick,
What's up?
how was your week, brother? Besides having a
Week
birthday
was-
yesterday.
Yeah.
The
So
old man.
birthday was on Sunday, and I wake up and my wife rolls over. She's like, "What do you want for breakfast?" And I was like, I just gave her a smile. I'm like, "This day's already great." and then I was like, "I'll take some bacon." She's like, "I didn't get any bacon." I'm like,
She said, "Yeah, about the bacon."
second choice, I'll take a donut and an iced coffee from Dunkin' Donuts. She's like, "All right, done." So she went out and got me that, and pretty much chilled all day. That's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to have to do anything, go anywhere, and so hanging out with the kids. And Lucas, Gabe, I don't know if you've done this move. I'm sure you have, where you're sitting around the house for half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, something like that, and no one's bothering you, and then you're like, "Huh. Oh, no one's bothering me. What's going on?" So let me just sneak down to the man cave and play a little video games. And as soon as you hit the boop,
Yeah, they hear it. They hear the sound. Sticking
they come
PS4
down.
and its loud beep.
It's like smelling blood in the water. Like,
Yeah.
"Daddy, come outside with us." I'm like, "Oh, well."
That's the one thing I need them to work into the PS5.
I know,
the
right?
Ability to turn that sound off.
Why do they do that?
Silently come on, please.
Whose husband, whose wife of some developer like sneaks in there every console cycle and says, "Oh, I'm gonna get that little beep so I know when he's playing. I'm gonna catch him."
Yeah, just give me a toggle just to turn it off, or just don't do it.
Yeah.
now,
Just like, you know how I turn on my laptop, it doesn't make a big old loud sound when I turn it on. Do the same thing with consoles.
What if you could customize?
Because if it wasn't for that, because I did this multiple times throughout the day.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, well, okay, they're playing with their cousins right now. Okay, all right, it's my birthday. I'm gonna go play some Ghost of Tsushima, and I get about, I don't know, halfway through the first mission, which is 7 minutes, and they're like, "Hey, where'd you go, Daddy?"
It's your birthday. Come play with us.
You weren't paying attention to me for 25
Exactly.
minutes.
I tell you what,
I
man.
disappear for 1 second.
I think that beep too, there's something about it that cuts through every other sound in the house.
It does.
Yeah.
Like it's just the perfect frequency that nothing else fills up that frequency. So when that beep goes off, it just reverberates through the whole house. They're like, "Oh,
yeah.
Man, if they can give you the option to not only either silence it or customize the sound, can you imagine if you can just make it any kind of noise? Like we have
Yeah.
so many dogs here. If I just made it a dog bark, nobody would hear it. It would just be
There you
normal.
go.
It's like, oh, the dog's barking again.
Patrick, what would yours be if you could create whatever sound it was that turned on the PlayStation? What would it be?"
So it would have to be a sound that nobody listens to. I don't know, the microwave beep, because I feel like people just put stuff in the microwave and then don't open it back up for like 30 minutes.
Really?
And it does that like beep every 5 minutes. It's like boop boop. It's like, all right, someone who's got something in there. Oh, it's my wife. She's made a coffee and then had to reheat it and then just leaves it in there and forgets about it. Or my kids put something in there like ravioli and then they put it in there and then just forget about it. Like, that's what kids do. It's like the kids come to me for something like, "Hey, Daddy, can you open this bag?" And as soon as they give me the bag, they're off to the next room. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Where are you going?
Yeah, you wanted this snack. You brought it to me. I didn't
Exactly.
say who wants a snack. Ronnie, what in your house could you make the console turning on sound be to where nobody would come bother you?
So, my situation is a little different since it's only Elizabeth and I living here, and we both game. So
It's beautiful.
we have just like designated gaming time. Honestly, that like, no, I'm gonna play some games. She's like, "Oh, okay, I'll play some games." Or yeah. So I always have silence. Like the cat might bother me once, but that's pretty much about it. So
Marc Boucher, you have a sound it could be in your house to where you were getting away with it?
the toilet flushing. Because who's gonna run to the toilet flushing?
See, I was gonna say the opposite. Like my sound would be me saying like, "I gotta go to the bathroom," and then you wouldn't have to worry about anybody coming and talking to you.
That's true. Or like, what's that smell?
Yeah. Can you imagine every time you hit the PS button on the DualShock, it was like, "I gotta go to the bathroom."
Time to take the Browns to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that was my birthday was Sunday. Yeah. At the gaming front, played a ton of Ghost of Tsushima. I played. So when it came out, I played over the weekend, and then on Monday of last week, or maybe it was Tuesday of last week, Xbox dropped like 73 demos on the Xbox store, and I know, Gabe, you love demos.
Your boy love a demo.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm a dad, got a couple kids, I got finances, give me some demos. Let me try all these demos out. So I decided I'm going to try all these demos out.
Mm-hmm.
And I went through all 73. Now, I didn't play, quote unquote, play these games for maybe, I didn't finish them. There's some of them where I would turn on and they would either boot me right back to the Xbox home screen, or I turned one on and it was glitchy, like I had a bad connection to an internet site or something like that, and there was like black blocks everywhere. So, those games, I'm like, well, you had one shot.
Mm-hmm.
You absolutely had one shot.
That's
so
right.
I'm not gonna try these games. But of the 73 games, I probably had about 8 games that were decent, and one game that actually I'm probably gonna get or buy or play in Game Pass when it comes out. And that was Helheim Hassel. So Helheim Hassel was a game. It's a 2D side scroller, kind of like in the vein of a Double Fine game, or a Adventures of Monkey Island kind of game, where you go and there's like puzzles. You got to figure out the puzzle, but it's got like a really nice cartoon look to it. But the writing is hilarious.
Yeah.
Nice.
So the setting is you are this 14-year-old kid in like the Viking era, and he does not want to fight in any battles. So he thinks this whole battle being a Viking is a hassle. So he's like, everyone's running towards the battle, and he's like, not me, no thanks, and he just runs the other way. And in this game, if you die in battle, you go to Valhalla, and if you die like a cowardly death, then you go to Helheim. And if you go to Valhalla, you fight with Odin for the eternity. Or you can go to Helheim and not have to do that. So he's like, I'm not gonna be a part of this. I don't want to fight for the rest of my life. So he's running away from battle, and he falls off of a cliff. And he falls on top of a bear, killing the bear and also killing himself. So he wakes up, and he's in front of Helheim. He's like, oh, well, I'm here. And the gatekeeper's like, well, you're not supposed to be here. You're a brave warrior. You killed a bear with your bare hands.
Oh, jeez.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I got lucky.
I fell to my death. So that was just like the first few minutes. It was like a 20-minute demo. But I had an absolute fantastic time with that one.
Cool.
That's
There
awesome.
were a couple other games. There were some puzzle games where you make donuts. You got to figure out. It's like there's like a grid, and you got to move donuts across the conveyor belt, across maybe sprinkles or icing or cherries or whipped cream, and you can't cross over the same block twice. So you got to figure out how to get to the end. That was a pretty fun one. There was one that was like Dead Cells with Celeste style graphics.
Okay. Yep. Got my attention. I'm listening.
I'm about to say, we know Lucas loves some.
Hello. Yes. Dead Cells. Did you say?
I love Dead Cells, boy.
They have a Dead Cell demo. I'll play that.
It was fun. It was called Scourgebringer.
Yeah, that looks cool.
So if
you sent me that, and I definitely checked it out, and I'm definitely interested.
Yeah, so that was a good one. And then the last one I wanted to mention was called Clang 2. I didn't know there was a first one.
Well, the first one was awesome. It was about this guy that I don't know what I'm saying. It's
when you hear like Clang, you're like, this can't be a good game. But it is a game. It's a rhythm-based game with neon graphics where you are a character in the middle of the screen, and as items are coming to you, they come to you in a music form, and you have to figure out how to slice those musical notes. And every time you do that is to the beat of the music.
You have my attention.
So Yeah, it is really cool. It's got very cool graphics, a very simple game. And as you slice through these items, it gets faster and faster and faster. And it's at one point I couldn't get past it. If I gave myself a little bit more time, I probably would have been able to get past it. But I had 72 other demos to play, so
that's right.
This is a good one. I'll put this off to the side, and I'll play this one after I played all these 73 demos. So those were just a few hot spots from the demos that I played this past week. Yeah, that's about it. That's about it for me.
All right.
Gabe,
as is tradition.
how you doing, man?
Yes.
Tell us how you're doing, brother. Hey, what's up? Save the best for last.
Oh man, I don't know about all that, but yeah, everything's been going swimmingly over here. My wife has constantly got me building things in the house, and I've been home off the road, been doing just some VO stuff, as you guys talked about earlier in the show. Continuing on with that, so that's been fun because it was one of those things where when I got the opening night thing for ESPN, I was like, oh, this is really dope. And then I talked to my agent in New York, and he said, hey, there's a chance that they might have you do some more. And so I got to do like the Red Sox and the Yankees that's coming up this next Sunday, and then I'm doing some more tomorrow for the Sunday after. So that's been really, really fun. And then was it you, Patrick, that watched Incredible Dr. Pole? You said your kids watch that? Somebody on the, I forget who it was, but there's a show on Nat Geo Wild called The Incredible Dr. Pole. And
no, it doesn't ring very well.
Incredible.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It was Cisco that was watching it with Mark, his dad.
And so I'm doing some more stuff for Nat Geo tomorrow. And so, yeah, just kind of keeping myself busy with that stuff, which has been awesome. And then on the gaming side of things, it's funny because me and, I hear Lucas talk about it, but then at the same time, we're playing the same game, but different games. So I'm playing Chimera Squad, XCOM Chimera Squad. And I know Lucas has been working his way through XCOM 2, right?
That is right.
And so, and I am loving Chimera Squad. The only thing that's a little different is that you don't get to build your own team, like create your own characters like you can in XCOM 2.
Oh, yeah.
Which I kind of miss.
Yeah, I bet.
But the banter is really great, and they've got a bunch of different characters that you could choose from. I think I have a squad of like maybe 9 people right now. You can only take 4 on a mission, but yeah, I'm just loving that game. I kind of got close to the end and then lost, and so instead of going back and just loading up an earlier save, I don't know what it is about XCOM games, but I just always just start them over from the beginning. And so I started over. I'm just kind of flying back through it and really enjoying it. And I've, since I've been back home from the road, I haven't even like pulled my PlayStation out and set it back up and all this stuff yet. So I need to do that one of these nights so I can jump back into Warzone or whatever's next. I have no idea what I'm playing next. I flirted with playing Horizon, honestly.
You did download it. You got my hopes up.
I did download it. I don't know.
Oh, come on, man.
I know.
How many times is this now?
This would be number 4. I would be starting it for the 4th time.
Lucky number 4. Come on.
Yeah. And so, and then, all my buddies and you guys are playing Ghost. And man, I don't know if I just need to play it or what, but it just does not look interesting to me at all. And so I've been watching Ed play it because you guys know Ed streams every day, and so I'll hop in his stream. Shout out to Ed Placencia. And he's having so much fun that I'm like, oh, well, this game must be fun. But then like maybe because he hasn't been doing story, it's just hard for me to care because he's just doing side missions.
Oh, yeah.
And so, in Ed's stream, what's so great about Ed streaming is that Ed's really funny and great to be around. So you're there for Ed, like, you know what I'm saying? And so, but then when I'm there just to watch the game, like, okay, why should I get this game? He's having so much fun doing side stuff that I'm like, okay, I don't care anymore about the game. And so I just have to trust that it's amazing.
Like, I mean, everything, to me, everything's fun, but yeah.
Yeah. And so, it's hard because I want to play it because it's kind of the new hotness and it got all the high ratings and, coming off of Last of Us, it just seems a bit lighter hearted than that.
So much lighter.
And so even though you're still doing a lot of run around and killing, but it just seems like funner killing.
It's ho hum compared to The Last of Us.
Exactly. So I don't know. I don't know what's next, but yeah, man, just been playing Chimera Squad and hopefully I'll beat it here in the next little bit, and then we'll keep her moving. We'll see what's on the horizon after that.
Yeah. Hopefully it's Horizon.
See that? See that? See what I did there?
Nice. Okay. Well done.
All right.
Now,
all right.
Gabe,
all right.
with that Chimera Squad, is it? I don't really know much about it, and I haven't paid much attention to it actually. But is it pretty much the same deal as XCOM 1 and 2 in terms of the whole format, running around, taking turns?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's real-time strategy. Yeah, it's all that. The only thing that's a little different, I feel like you have, and maybe you don't with XCOM 2 either, I don't remember, but you pretty much have no say as to when people go. Like, they just kind of like, is in XCOM 2, remind me, do you get to do like all your team stuff, then the enemy goes?
Correct. Yeah, both sides take their turns.
Right. So in Chimera Squad, it'll be like one of your people will go, then like two of the enemy will go, then you'll go, then an enemy will go, then you'll go. So it's like really interspersed. And so you got to come at it from a totally different angle. And there's no snipers.
What?
Which is really interesting.
No snipers?
I know.
What would I do without Mark Boucher and Chad Fackler in my life? Those are my two snipers, and I need them. I put Mark in the hospital. I put Mark in the hospital the other day, and I went on a mission thinking he was there, and I'm like, okay, I got Chad Fackler. Where's my other sniper? Mark, where'd you? No, Mark wasn't there. It was sad.
And so that it puts a whole different spin to the way you play it because
that
it's like
sounds like it.
And so, but I really like it. I love the game. It's really, really fun. You get used to it. It was like a little bit of a bummer at first because I'm like you, like sniper class was always my favorite. Yeah. But then you ain't got it, so you just gotta make it work. And you don't get to, and like into they're assigned. You know, the game kind of assigns who they are, and so. But it's always the same. So if I were to start the game over, the same characters would have the same weapons.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah, it wouldn't be like, oh, I fought with this person and she has a shotgun and this guy has an assault rifle. Like, this guy will always have an assault rifle. This girl will always have a shotgun. That makes sense?
That's interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, I love it. I think you should check it out. Yeah, I think I bought it day one. Like, I was like, yep, getting it. And it's really great.
I did hear you say you were going to do that, and I'm glad to hear that it seems like it's pretty fun, and it definitely I kind of like that idea of it like interdispersing the turns between you and the enemy, because I have to say to this point I've played XCOM the original 2 or 3 times, and then this is my first go with XCOM 2, but it's so easy to just take advantage of the fact knowing that I get to do all my moves and kind of just set it up to my advantage. And so when the enemy goes, now they have, and I don't think they had this in the original, I don't remember, but they have that mimic beacon that I've just been using the heck out of in XCOM 2. I get to the end of my turn knowing that I'm not going to take out all the aliens, and so I just toss one of those out, and then they just concentrated their fire on that like a bunch of dumb idiots. So I'm like, okay, whatever.
Another thing that was kind of cool about Chimera Squad is, I don't know how long after XCOM 2 it is, but something's happened to where the story is everybody's been kind of working together, I guess.
I'd caught that from the trailers.
Yeah, that's right. And so your team is like, you have a sectoid or whatever, and like you have all these guys that you fought in XCOM 1 and 2 as part of your team, and so you get to use like all the mind control stuff from early on and stuff like that. So that's really cool too.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
I've been really loving that. Yeah,
I'll definitely check that out in the future. For sure. Did you have anything else you want to share?
Another game to your backlog?
Yeah, it'll be number 152.
Yeah, exactly. You got to take the Chris McCracken approach, man. He don't even believe in a backlog.
I'm too far in. I've already made so many notes. If I deleted them,
too deep.
I'm in too deep. If I would delete those notes, it would be like deleting a finger or something. Just can't do it.
I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Cool. Well, it's funny you should bring up XCOM 2. I have been playing that a lot. I didn't give a video game update because really not much has changed. I have the trifecta right now of Ghost of Tsushima, XCOM 2, and Dead Cells just going every day, and I've been loving it. But in gaming related news or questions, we have a question from a Mr. Delvin Cox of the Delvin Cox experience and PlayStation experience. He had this to say. Hey guys, the question is this. My dad had to give up gaming a few years ago because he got older. His vision, his motor functions aren't as sharp as they used to be. So if you had to give up gaming, what aspect of playing games would you miss the most? Purely talking about mechanical aspect of it, not the community aspect or playing with friends. So we'll just go in inverted order. Patrick. No, not Patrick. That's not how inverted order works.
Whoops.
Gabe. What would you miss most? Let's give us one good thing that you would miss about playing games.
I would miss being a part of the new hotness. You know what I mean? When you get to play and beat a game, a huge game, especially in that first week or 2 weeks that the game is out, I feel like, especially with whatever community, if you have a little gaming community and you guys get to talk about it, you know what I'm saying? It's like when Detroit came out and when Last of Us came out and when Final Fantasy came out, like one of the things that was so fun about it, especially with Detroit, was talking to your buddies about how they played it and what choices they made and stuff like that. So I think I would miss being able to take that ride on the hype train that would be going on those first couple weeks of gaming.
Yeah, it's a good one. Patrick, how about you? Now it's your turn. You can go ahead.
So one thing I love about video games versus like TV and movies is controlling the characters and moving them along. So it's not the same thing when you're watching a playthrough or watching someone complete the game 100%. It feels like more of like a movie to me. And sometimes when I'm watching a movie, you know, there are times where I'm falling asleep. And with gaming, like gaming can keep me up because I'm holding a controller. My mind is going all the time. So if I weren't able to hold a controller and game, I don't think I would be into games as much as I am right now.
Interesting.
That's a good one. Mark, how about you?
Oh gosh, it's a toss-up. I'm just gonna have to pick one. I think the escapism of it would be the thing I would miss about it. You know how the same people, like, they escape into books and escape into movies or sports or whatever it may be. That's my quote unquote escape. The fact that you could enter into all sorts of new worlds and experience those things and just kind of get lost in those things, in a good way, of course, in a healthy way. But just that type of escape, I would certainly miss. I mean, I've read books before, but to me,
once or twice,
you know, I've read a book in my lifetime.
I have read books.
Yeah.
I mean, I tried a book once. It just didn't do it for me.
And yeah, it just, to me, like, I like the immersion factor of it. So, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Get that.
Ronnie, tell us why you would miss your Ark dinosaurs. Let's just cut right to the chase.
I would have said every single thing that Mark said, except worse. Like,
what?
That's
What's
100% what I would have said.
What's
I
worse?
just would not have said it as good as Mark said it.
Ah, okay. I gotcha. I'm like, man, what are we going to say that's worse?
I would 100% miss being able to escape. So it's the same for me. You know, like, whatever, everybody has their own thing. Like Mark said, some people like to read books. I hate reading books.
I thought you were going to say, I've never read a book.
I think I probably have completed one or two. There was a couple of baseball books that I've been involved in. But
mainly had pictures, but
yeah. If they've got enough pictures, I'll thumb through. But no, it's an escape for me too. If you have had a crappy day at work or something, just everything, one of those days where everything's going wrong, you can always sit down for an hour and play video games, and it just literally takes you completely out of it.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Well, I've got something even worse. No, I'm just kidding. I just wanted to say something worse than what Ronnie said.
Wow.
Ronnie, you're supposed to laugh. Come on. Man, tough crowd. All right, fair
If
enough.
you would have tied them both together, it would have made more sense. Be like, I've got something kind of like Mark and Ronnie, but worse than both of
Oh,
them.
that's what I should. Okay, rewind. I've got
Bring
something
it.
If someone has to help you with the joke, it
like
doesn't-
Cut this out,
Gabe,
all of it.
like Gabe,
Lord have
Patrick,
mercy.
Ronnie, and Mark. Except worse.
When I'm finished, please laugh. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
All
Maybe
right.
one of those laugh lights behind you, like they have the applause lights.
I install it right here. Laugh, please.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a please with a question mark. Laugh, please.
Yeah.
All right, but seriously, I would say the thing I would miss the most is the interactive storytelling. And I mention the interactive part because while I love stories, my wife gives me a hard time sometimes that I doze off when we're watching things like for the third, fourth, fifth time, or my kids are reading me a story. I have to confess there have been times when I've been reading a story to my kids back in the day, and I started to doze off while reading the story to my kids.
Oh, I am the same way. When the kids want to have like a bedtime story, like I don't know what it is or what books have against me,
Tryptophan
but as soon
in the
as I open the
pages.
book, yawning immediately.
Ooh,
like
I'm
I don't.
tired.
Immediately,
I feel the
it's
same
so
way.
weird.
It's like sleeping gas in there as soon as you open
Yeah.
the book.
What did they make this with? What is it laced with?
Yeah. The whole book is laced with melatonin.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's what they do
That's all I
nowadays.
need.
But yeah, so I don't know what there is about holding a controller. I want to say there's only been one time, and I believe it's the same game that Gabe talked about in the past that he's fallen asleep to. It's the only time I've kind of dozed off. A good old Ico.
Ico. Oh my gosh. That joke was so peaceful.
It was.
I was like, did my controller just spray lavender at me or something like that? I was like, what is going on?
Right in the face.
Yeah. Just a freaking what they call them little drops that they put in the diffusers.
Yeah, exactly.
An essential oil.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ico dropped that essential oil on your boy. I was like,
Like, oh, wait, what? What happened?
yeah, my man just running in a wall.
Yep. Been there. But yeah, so just interactive storytelling. I just love it. A good narrative where I get to have some control. I mean, I do enjoy watching a good old-fashioned cutscene and just taking it all in. There's just nothing like it. And, you know, those narratives are impactful. And they're also the topic of our show. So let's just jump right into it, shall we?
Nice segue.
Oh, he's a transition
Yeah,
ninja.
It's a yellow ninja.
All right, Gabe, you want to give us an intro to the topic?
Nope.
Fantastic. Just shoot me down like a clay.
Pass that
There's how you
book
get
right
out of
pigeon.
everything on the show.
Oh my god.
All right.
That's hilarious.
That's right, folks. Gabe is not introing this topic. I am. We're talking about our top 3 video game narratives, which I have to
shoot.
say is hard. This is a difficult task we've put before ourselves.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sorry, Gabe, that we invited you to come on
This is
to
so
the show where
hard.
it's like, hey, you can only have 3. The rest are trash.
Yeah, I mean,
Stressed out.
we're talking about video game stories. I'm like, okay. I'm like, boom, 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 boom. I already have 7, and it's already been 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and I'm rearranging. I'm like, I don't know. Could be.
I was the exact opposite. I was like, what story? So I gotta just preface mine. I don't know if they're my top 3.
Yeah,
Now, I don't know if they're my top 3. It's hard to say. I mean, I've been a lot of years in gaming.
it is.
And so, you know,
Yeah. It's a
but these
tough
are
thing.
3 that I really, really, really love.
I think the only top 3 that would be worse for me personally is if we did a top 3 of Pixar movies. Like that would be that would break
That'd
me.
be easier for me.
Would that be easier for you?
Yeah.
I
Less
mean, it's
Pixar movies.
What would be a tough top 3 for you, just so for future reference when we have you on back again? I want to be ready.
For Pixar?
No, for...
See, here's the thing. I think I
He
talked
just
about
said
this on...
Pixar's not a hard one. Listen to your guest, Patrick. Punk.
I think that, as I've gotten older, I've been trying to put my flag in the sand on these topics more and more.
Just do it.
And so, so you just got to so I'm trying to have it not be as difficult, but this was a very hard one. The top 3 stories in gaming. I was like, because at first I misunderstood you guys. I thought it was like stories surrounding gaming, and I was like, oh, that's easier to do. But stories in gaming, I was like, ooh, this is a tough one.
Yeah. I mean, it is, because stories are personal. Stories impact you. It's like there's nothing like a good story to just get in the shoes of someone else or to escape. Like Mark and Ronnie talked about that, just whole escapism. I think all of us can agree with that. Sometimes the kids are driving us nuts. And once we get past that loud beep of the PS4, we get into a world, we get into
I got to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, exactly. And we just jump in there, and it's a great way of escape, but they're personal, and they're, I know for a lot of us, we're going to talk about, like, some of the stories we mentioned are going to, they have hit an important part of our lives, or they helped us escape, not like permanently or to not, to escape responsibility, but just to help us deal with. Yeah, true. So I think we're going to just do a good old fashioned round robin. I don't personally, I have my top 3, but I have a hard time ranking them, like saying 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. I know some of us will rank them 3, 2, 1. But I would just say, we'll just each mention one and just kind of share a different aspect of the story, why it was so special, how it connected to you. We do need to say at the top of this narrative discussion, there will be spoilers. So you listeners out there, once we mention the name of the game, if you don't want to know spoilers, check the timestamps, skip ahead, hit that 15, 30-second jump button a couple times, because... it's the spoilers that kind of are connected to why we love the story. So we kind of have to talk about some of those things. And if anybody in the group, if you don't want to hear spoiler, just plug your ears, unplug your headphones. We'll wave at you when we're done. So, yeah. With that, I think I'm actually going to have some joiners lead the way, if that's okay. They're going to share. They're going to share. I want to get them out in the front so we don't steal their thunder. And they're going to share some of their favorite games. And we can just discuss if it's in your top 3, maybe just keep your comments to a minimum and then mention it later. But if it's not, for me, it's like, oh, that was one of my honorable mentions, such as with Ryan Straube, who said, for me, it doesn't get any better than the Uncharted saga. It's the best mix of video games and some of my favorite movies, Indiana Jones and National Treasure. Sad to see Nathan's story could be finished, but I'm hoping for huge things with Uncharted on the PS5. A Sully storyline or a revival of the co-op gameplay. A boy can dream, right? Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. Uncharted was in my honorable mentions.
Mine too.
All the way through 4. And just the way Uncharted 4, like a lot of video game stories, some of it's the journey and some of it's like the ending. Like, you can get the pieces in the journey, but the ending comes in, and just sometimes that makes the game. Sometimes you have a journey and the ending didn't quite stick. Yeah. But it doesn't detract away from the journey. But the Uncharted series had both, and I feel like I was just loving every minute of it. Up until the end, up until the Uncharted 4 epilogue, it's a very, very good story.
Do you want them to do another one, Patrick?
If they do another one, I'd like to see. Because they have a daughter now, so if they do another one, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see a Nate's brother,
Sam.
or. Yeah, Sam. If they do another one, I either want it to be a Sully when he is younger, or maybe when maybe when Nate first started, or maybe another Nate story, but I really would like to see a Nate and Elena and Cassie one where mother, father, and daughter go out and do something more of like a family thing. I don't know. As a family man, I'd like to see that kind of story.
I think that would be a cool beginning, but with Uncharted's history of like piling up the bodies, I don't know how well that would go over with like, oh, it's a family adventure. Pirates, let's all shoot them in the head.
But it'd be very Naughty Dog.
It would be very Naughty Dog, that's for sure.
Naughty Dog ain't scared of having a little girl kill somebody.
That's true. Yeah, you're right there.
I don't want them to make any more Uncharted games. I just don't. I'm not a guy who loves. I hate flashbacks. Hate them. I hate them in movies. I hate them in video games.
Yeah.
I just do not like them because usually I look at them as like get out of jail free cards, where it's like they're like, and Sully did this back in the day, and you're like, oh brother,
did he?
So yeah, exactly. Be like, oh, how appropriate. And so I don't like that kind of stuff. I want them to, and I think too, I trust Naughty Dog so much that I'm like, just give us something brand new. I just want to see something brand new from them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can wait 7 years, yeah.
That's how long we got to wait anyway.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I would say that for me, Uncharted is the Fast and Furious of video games because it's all about.
How dare you?
No, I mean, just let me say my piece. It has.
I can't believe you even compared the two.
You're gonna hear why, and you will understand. It's got action set pieces, big, unbelievable situations and explosions, and it's all about family. Like the message of the games always come back to Nate's relationship with Sully, with Elena, with all of them, and that's like the tie that binds. I love in Uncharted 4 how I feel like finally after the last three, the fourth one was just like, you know what? It's about the relationship. And that's where most of the focus was. And that's what I really love about that story is they kind of got away from some of the craziness. I mean, they still had the action. They still had the explosions and the sword fight and all this crazy stuff that happened. But it came down to, man, the intimate moments in the house where you're playing Crash Bandicoot with Elena and you have to do the dishes if you screw up.
Yeah.
And just all that stuff. That touches were just, those are magical.
Who's the ludicrous in Uncharted games?
Well,
it's not a 1-to-1 game.
It's gotta be like
I'm just saying. You know what's funny about
the nun?
Anyway, I can't even go into it about Fast and Furious.
Orphanage that's Nate runs into. No, I got nothing. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I might have been playing fast and loose with the comparison, but it's all about family.
Fast and Furious.
Okay.
Yep. All right. We got Chris the Rock. He said XenoGears on PS1 is my favorite all-time story, but I was still
I love that game
and easily impressed. I have actually not played that game, but I have heard good things, and I'm very
it's so good.
What kind of game is that?
It's like an RPG.
It's like a Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
It's a JRPG
kind of deal.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right, then that's why it's not on my radar. Is that a new one, or is that old?
No, on the PS1.
Yeah.
Oh, so it was
Listen
like the
to
old
the joiners,
Final Fantasy
Patrick.
VII
They're
style.
But yeah,
those games were good.
It's that same kind of style. I mean, it's like Final Fantasy in the fact that they've improved the graphics, but for the most part, like the writing and the characters are just outrageous and very exaggerated. And it's a fun mix of, I think, science fiction and fairy tale stuff, kind of like Final Fantasy. I haven't played it a lot, so Gabe could probably speak to it better than I could.
Yeah, I mean, they're great. They're very Japanese, but they're great games. And, that's one of the things, with PlayStation 1 especially, and before, I guess, back when they didn't have all the power that they have now, they couldn't, like, wow you with anything else. Like, the story had to be what kept you. And, oh, yeah. All those, I loved the JRPG, but it was just my time of life, too, then. That's when Final Fantasy VII's coming out. I'm in high school still, and, yeah, it was just, you felt misunderstood. And that's how
angst.
Yeah. The angst went right along with every protagonist in a JRPG. I felt like.
Well, and ironically, Chris the Rock said Final Fantasy VII was also a close second for him. Yeah, you called it out. He said more recently, Detroit Become Human, which I think he just completed the other day.
So good.
So good. He also mentions The Wolf Among Us and The Walking Dead Season 1 are my personal favorite stories. Now, Chris, we said top 3, so you are banned for bringing up 5. I'm just kidding. Just joking, Chris.
Sorry about it.
We appreciate
Overshot that.
all your mentions, especially the Telltale games. I love the Telltale games.
I'm going to unban
Yeah,
him.
you can unban him.
Because he talked about the Telltale Walking
did.
Dead, and that is that is in my top 3 I wanted to mention.
It might be
it is
in mine, too.
Oh, okay.
Y'all's getting frisky.
Did we just become best friends? Yep. All right. The other one I had was, give me a second. Had to go to Twitter now. We did a little transition from Discord to Twitter. Rafael Costa from Portugal. He said, my favorite game of all time is Super Mario World. And the second one is a tie in between The Witcher 3 and The Last of Us. I interjected here on Twitter and said, just to be clear, Hafa, we're talking about video game stories. And he's like, oh, right. Sorry. Scratch the Super Mario World.
I was about to
I was
say.
wondering, like, what is so great about Super
That's what
Mario
threw me
World?
off. I was like, well, yeah, that's a classic story. For sure.
Mario going after Princess Peach.
Yep. But he said...
Tale as old as time.
Yeah. He said, oh, sorry, you're right. Well, then the tie is between The Last of Us and The Witcher. I love The Last of Us story, but all the sides and small pieces of story content that The Witcher has made me first play the DLCs and secondly, replay the main story in the Switch version. So it sounds like for Hafa, the Witcher is his number 1 narrative, which is definitely
Nice.
a good one.
Whoa. Then that...
I
man,
know,
I need to play that game.
Patrick. That's one of your resolutions. You got to at least get
It
you at
is.
least got to beat Gabe. And did you
Get to Skellige,
yeah,
baby.
Did you get to Skellige and get stuck there? Or you didn't get to Skellige.
No, I never even went.
You're still playing.
I never
Gwent.
got on a boat or however you go.
There you go.
I don't even know how you get there. I don't know if it's like plane.
Yep, it's a plane.
Not even on the same continent.
Yep. But your airlines.
Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly. My ticket expired.
But that
Toss
is
a
a good
coin
one.
to your stewardess.
The last one comes
Nice, Mark.
from our own Tim Pollen at tpolin20. He said,
Yep.
I think it's got to be Red Dead Redemption 2. When I started, I really disliked Arthur and thought he was dull. By halfway through, I was enamored with him and the story. Of course, at the end, I was near tears. I love Westerns, and this is a story worthy of making into a movie.
I was the same way with him. When I first started playing that game, I'm like, man, Arthur is a jerk. And then 25 hours later, I'm like, Arthur is the best.
I want to give him a hug.
Whole 180.
Yeah, let me get this hair serum going.
Yeah, so that one was actually on my list as well.
Yeah,
I
I'm feeling
kind
it
of
would be.
lumped Red Dead Redemption 2 and 1 all kind of just in together.
That's all
basically,
good.
it's just one really big, awesome video game storyline.
Yeah, it's
Do
like
you play
part
the
one
same
and part
guy in
two.
both of them?
No. Well, yeah, kind
And
of.
yes, and no.
Yeah, yes and no.
That's not an answer.
Red Dead Redemption 2 leaves you basically right at where Red Dead Redemption starts.
Oh, Red Dead 2 is a prequel?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
It leaves
Spoilers.
off like right where the other one starts.
I've never played any of them.
They are actually, I mean, as far as storylines go, like, it is an awesome game. Awesome game.
Nice.
Sweet. Well, with that, we're going to get into our awesome games. So why don't we let Ronnie, since Ronnie was mentioning Red Dead, I don't know if that's your number 3 game or if you want to talk about it a little
Wait,
more
hold
first.
on a
Sorry,
second.
what?
Did you do Facebook? Are we still doing joiner stuff? Did you do Facebook?
Did you do Facebook?
We did Facebook.
I'll be honest. I usually forget to check Facebook.
Mom, Dad, stop fighting.
Dang it.
I think we might
Do
have
we have
one
one
or
on
two over
Facebook?
there.
All right.
I think we have
Let's
a couple
turn on the
over there.
elevator music here. Ba-ba-ba-ba.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't do it. I mean,
Come on, keep going. Don't.
We need like a GMG elevator music.
yeah, you guys do.
All right, I have it up.
That's great.
So Micah Garnett says Hellblade is incredibly underrated. I love how the game peels back its story layer by layer, revealing its big twists at just the right moments. It doesn't talk down to the player either. The final battle is one of the best moments in gaming. Super excited to see where they take the story in number 2.
Nice.
Wow. Chris McCracken says the same thing.
Yep.
He says Hellblade was ridiculous. I might need to give that one a try. Shoot, I don't know anything about that game.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Gabe. I've heard nothing but good things, especially how it tackles mental health and stuff. And the use of the headphones I've heard is like incredible. And there's nothing like a game that totally utilizes your headphones and makes you feel like it's like surrounding you.
I totally agree.
Just totally gets you in the game. I definitely want to check that out. And my apologies to who was that posted that?
Micah
Garnett. I have no idea who you are, but I appreciate you. And don't allow my total disregard for your existence to hurt you. It's not personal. It's me. I'm getting too old for this stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's the old, it's not you.
Exactly. But
There's one more, by the way.
Is there? Are you
like
serious?
A 3-minute Facebook rant.
Yeah.
Oh, this Facebook, these book of faces.
Darn Facebook.
Too old for this
MySpace
stuff.
these kids are using.
Yeah. All right. What's the third one,
All right,
Mark?
So,
Just kidding.
so Mike Doherty says he has 2 of them.
Ooh.
He says Final Fantasy 3 or 6.
That's right. Depending on your Japanese or U.S. version.
Spoiler: hero tries to save the world, but fails the first time. As a teen, that was an eye-opener because the hero never loses. Later saves what's left of the world, so we're cool. Also, Kefka is greater than Sephiroth. Fight me.
I'm not going to fight you.
I don't know what that
No,
means.
you have no
I will
idea.
not fight you.
Yeah, Sephiroth is the main bad guy in Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah. And
Okay,
then,
so I've only played the Final Fantasy remake, Final Fantasy VII remake, and Final Fantasy 15. Those are the only 2 Final Fantasy games
now
that
the
I played.
I think the remake
he's in
Sephiroth
7.
is better than the OG Sephiroth.
Yeah.
I think
I don't know.
and maybe it's just because they give him a voice, but he's so
well that
creepy.
and they have to insert him so early.
Well, they
in this
do,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, compared to the other ones, they don't have the time.
He goes on. He says, I also fell in love with Bioshock, an amazing game, but Rapture was so rich in backstory. Yeah, Bioshock, that was one of my other honorable mentions. Bioshock Infinite
Me
for
too.
me. Because
Brother.
Yeah, my honorable mentions.
Oh, trifecta.
Bioshock was good, but Bioshock Infinite, the way they pulled it all together at the end was just so
that game
amazing.
made me cry at the end. I was tearing up.
Mine was blown. And then lastly, Zach Ald says Red Dead Redemption as a series has to be my all-time favorite. It has such a deep lore and character building across the 2 that play on each other and leave loose ends for more to come. The easy answer for me is The Legend of Zelda, but honestly, that's because it was my first game I've stayed up on all of them. So both of them have to be the best story-driven games I still repeatedly play to this day.
One of them is on my list.
There you go. All right, and with that, back to you, Lucas.
Yes. And back to me, back to you, Ronnie.
Oh, there's one more on Friendster.
Oh, okay. Good call. Gabe, why don't you read that one since you found it first?
Yeah. This one is from Moses. He said, I like the game that was about me that one time on the Nintendo.
That's right.
All right, back to you, Lucas.
Oh, man. I don't know where to go from here.
So
You're supposed to go to Ronnie. Ronnie never finished
Yes,
saying,
thank
were you
you.
done with
yeah.
Red Dead?
So Red Dead was on my list. I was going to talk about Silent Hill 2.
Okay.
Ooh.
bring it out.
You guys all
Electric
played that?
Boogaloo.
Nope.
No.
I'm too
No,
scared.
I played Silent Hill
I'm a
1.
chicken.
I've never played it either, but it was on the top of a 30-game list that I found online. And I just assumed that you guys gamed a lot, so somebody would know, and then it would just create conversation. If that was a fail.
So that's like a fake top 3 for you.
Well, I mean, apparently it was the top 1 for a lot of people. That's what I read.
Wow, man.
Sinister game telling.
Oh, man.
I cannot believe nobody has ever played it.
Wait a
All
second.
of
Wait
you
a
guys,
second.
Nobody?
Hold on a second. Ronnie, you didn't play that game?
Nah, nope.
And it's your top 3 storytelling games?
Oh no, I basically just said it because I read online that it was out of a top 30 or like top 30 storylines. It was the top one, so I just assumed you guys probably had played it.
Gabe, this is what we have to deal with every week.
No, hey man, it's been great being with you guys, man. I hope you guys have a lot of fun for the rest of the episode.
No, if I had to give a serious one, I would say Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh, yes.
That was a
That
good
is
I
a
Did you play that one?
Loved that game. I thought the story.
Oh, you played it.
I did.
He did play that one, yes.
Yeah, that's Star Wars attached to it, so that kind of got me. No, that game was awesome. That was one of the first games I remember like playing at like more than one time, like as a kid. The first time I went through, I just like killed everybody. I was a Sith, and then I had to go back through and play it basically as somebody on the light side just to see the difference in story. So, but it was awesome. That was a really good one.
Yeah, I remember playing that. That was on the OG Xbox, and this was light years ahead of any other game that I had played up to this point because they had every single piece of dialogue was voiced.
Mm.
And there was like, I think they said like 60 hours of voice lines for this game, which was unheard of on an Xbox game. I don't even know if it was on any game at that time. So that my mind was just blown.
Shenmue had a bunch of talking on it.
Yes, Shenmue did.
Just saying.
Don't leave out that Shenmue.
What's brewing, bro?
Yeah, exactly. I want to know what happened with the soldiers down by the boats. Where are all the sailors at? I was like, this is bad.
That was the Resident Evil Shenmue voiceover competition for the worst.
Exactly.
It's like I remember playing Shenmue, and there was a part where you can play on the arcade, and the goal was to get the best score. And the guy's watching you. He's like, "Wow, you're good!" And Shenmue just turns over. He's like, "Nah, I'm not that good."
Shenmue. His name's not Shenmue.
That's like when my kids call Rapunzel on Tangled. Hey, look, it's Tangled. I'm like, no, her name's Rapunzel. The movie is called.
I know. Yeah. Sorry, I called him Shenmue. I did say
Hand in your
Shenmue.
gamer card.
Now I understand what I said.
Yeah. You
Your
gotta
favorite character in Shenmue.
hand your gamer card in for 1 week. You can't rent any books from the library.
Well,
Who's the main character? I think his name is Shenmue.
Exactly.
we know, like Ronnie didn't play Silent Hill 2. Patrick did not play Shenmue.
Obviously didn't play Shenmue. Just said it because Gabe said it.
Whoops.
Oh, man.
Man.
Yeah, back to Knights of the Old Republic. I remember, as we said, spoilers, that moment you find out that you're the villain for me was like one of the first video games where I was just like, what?
Wait.
I was the villain? And
You
of
were
course,
Revan? That was crazy.
That was crazy.
You were
And,
Shenmue in it?
You were
You were the Last of Us?
I was Shenmue?
I've been Shenmue this whole time?
Red Dead died?
I am Bill Redemption. Nice to meet you.
Exactly. Jeez Louise. That's why I found out that Shenmue spent the rest of his days at a place called SeaWorld. And it was awful.
There's no recovering from this. All right. All right, Patrick, since you're making up character names, do you want to go next? What's one of your top 3 video games of all time?
Yeah, so we had talked about it previously. It was The Walking Dead Season 1.
Yes.
Walking Dead Season 2, 3, and 4, they were good, but nothing compares to 1 between the relationship between Lee and Clementine. It is just the way they tell the story. Mm-hmm. And again, talking about games that were revolutionary, this was a game where it was just like, hey, whatever your choices are, it's going to shape the story. You know, what you choose in the game is going to result in someone dying, someone leaving your camp, being mad at you, affecting what they do later in the game, affecting whether they're going to be helping you at the end. That game is just like, I've said before that games for me, when I try to pick my top 10 games of all time, I think of them as games that I play over and over again. But with The Walking Dead, I played this game one time. And the reason why I've only played this game one time, because I do not want to sour the story that I helped create and write for these two characters, because that story was mine. I don't want to play that game over and over again. And the choice that I had to make at the end with Lee and Clem was just so rough.
Gosh.
And I don't think I could do that again.
Yeah, they were like the original Joel and Ellie for me. Like, it was like the first time that I feel like I played as a duo, because you're playing as Lee, but it's you and Clem. You know what I mean? And it was the first time I was like, oh snap! Like, I am really invested in these characters right now. Like, I feel like his fatherly thing over Clementine, and I feel like, even though it's a recent game and it was before The Last of Us, because The Last of Us kind of did that again for me. But I feel like The Walking Dead was the first game that I was like, oh snap! Like, I care about this little girl like Lee cares about her.
Yeah,
great pick, Patrick.
Yeah, definitely. And such a great pick that I also picked Walking Dead Season 1 as my number 3, as my first one to share. I really loved all 4 seasons. I know that, there were some dips in like Season 2, Season 3. I really liked the way it bookended. I loved Season 1. I loved Season 4, even if it had like a very, not exactly a Walking Dead ending. It was a little actually more positive than I would have expected. But nothing beats that Season 1. Like, that whole ending transition where I feel like it was like an Inception moment where you're like playing a game with it, like you're controlling Lee, who's telling Clem what to do. Like, that whole transition of like passing the baton over was so emotional. Like you said, Gabe, that whole fatherly figure, that parental responsibility you felt for Clem, and that carried through, to me, that just carried through the rest of Season 2, 3, and 4. Like, I think Season 3 is where you control Clem the least, or you don't control her at all. That was the one that I had the hardest time with connecting with. But even then, every time Clem was in the room, I was like, well, whatever Clem wants to do.
You had to play as freaking Abby.
You had to play as a Hispanic Abby.
You're like, this game sucks. Why am I playing as Abby girl?
Oh man, but
I didn't
give me shit.
I didn't play past Season 1 on The Walking Dead. That was I think I played. Yeah. What was that other thing called? 400 Days.
Yeah,
you're not missing much after 1. Really,
I only played Season 1 and 400 Days. That was it.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's my one of my top 3 games. How about you, Mark?
So I'm gonna go with Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, and that's saying something because I've recently just played through Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yes, you did. Hope you're listening, Gabe.
Oh, I'm listening intently.
Because you've never heard it from your co-host.
Yeah,
on
exactly. I'm just waiting for him to call the lead girl Horizon Zero Dawn.
Her name's Dawn.
Yeah, exactly. So I was playing through the game with Dawn.
No, so yeah, obviously back in like what, 2017, 2018, we hadn't even been around that long as a podcast. So had to be 2018.
It was
when you did your Extra Life. Pat did a giveaway, and he gave away a copy of Horizon Zero Dawn, and I won it. And there it sat for the longest time, and not until this year did I actually pick it up and start playing through it. And I absolutely loved the idea of, the fact that Earth had gone through this like super technological period, and unfortunately, this event happened to where most of humanity became extinct, with the exception of this certain group of people that have been, set apart.
Wearing masks?
Yes.
They survived.
Yes.
Yeah. They wore their N95 masks and made it through.
Yep. kept 6 feet apart. Yep.
We were the chosen ones.
We were there.
But no, obviously, quote unquote humanity for the most part dies off and becomes primitive again. And so it was a very interesting story to me how you were in this period of being Aloy and she being an outsider, and then you find out later why she is an outsider, and that story begins to unravel, and then the connections between the past, which is technically the future, sort of, because it's more technological than they are now, where they're like super primitive and living off the land and all that kind of stuff. It was just that kind of back and forth kind of thing. I really love stories like that play with those themes, and just the way that the story unraveled was great. So yeah, my one of my top 3 is Horizon Zero Dawn.
Nice. Yeah, I ran out of honorable mention room, or that definitely would have been in the grouping. I loved that game. The whole unveiling of like being in a dystopian future after it, you kind of felt like, oh, when is this? And then you just kind of discover where you are, when you are, the whole way that all the mechanical and robot enemies and animals interact with the world and you interact with them. Like there was nothing like taking down a Thunderjaw for the first time. And with your own bare hands and your traps and your weapons and, outsmarting the technology and all that. That's such a cool game. Gabe, what's your first top 3 narrative?
I'm going to say this
game?
one because you guys already mentioned it. It was Bioshock Infinite.
Ooh,
I
yes.
absolutely loved that game.
Yeah.
And it was one of those games where I don't even remember. Are you going through like a tunnel in the beginning? You're like in some water or something like that. And you kind of come out and you're in whatever that city is in the sky. And I just remember being like, oh my gosh, this game is beautiful. Columbia, yeah. And
yes.
And so, and then just like the twists and turns it takes, and how like right away you're kind of met with this like really racist moment that happens, and then you're trying to get after Elizabeth, I think was her name.
Mm-hmm.
And I just loved that game so much. And I think it's funny because for me, I could not stand Bioshock 1 and 2. And so where at the time, Timothy Hall, who was on our show Married to the Games, he loved those games. And then I think Tim loved them. I think Router loved them too. And so I was like, why do I not like these games? This is so weird that I don't like these games. And the first one just gave off those Carney vibes, and I just really didn't like that. And then I don't think I even tried the second one more than like 15 minutes, and I was like, ugh. But then Infinite, man, some reason just grabbed me, and I absolutely loved it. And I loved, messing with all the, whatever you would get out of the vending machine and all the powers you would get, and how you could make it all work together. And so, Bioshock Infinite.
Nice.
Solid choice.
Fine choice indeed.
Donka.
All right, we've looped back to you, Ronnie. What you got for us? What game have you not played that you would like to put on your top 3 list?
Bioshock was number 3 on that list, actually.
There you go.
I actually have GTA 5.
There you go.
All right.
So
Nice.
I don't know how many. I would assume you guys have probably played through that, but it has like a. I mean, you play as 3 different characters that are all their stories are just intertwined throughout the whole game, and I think that facet of the game is like just really, really cool.
Is it annoyingly intertwined, or does it all make sense?
No, it all makes sense. It all makes sense. There's one new guy who is introduced, and then 2 of the guys go back. Like when you first jump into GTA 5, you are on a heist mission, and that's like kind of how you learn how to like start to play the game. And 2 of the main characters that you can play as are friends / on the same crew, I guess. And then what happens is one guy gets shot, you get shot as the guy that you are, and later down the road you find out that it was all kind of a setup, and the guy that gets shot, who everybody thought was dead, is actually in witness protection, living under like a different name.
Oh wow!
So yeah, it's not annoyingly intertwined, and it actually it's cool because at the end of the game, so you have this main villain, I guess kind of a little bit of a gangster type guy, very powerful man, and you end up taking him down. And at the end of the game, you get to basically decide if you just want to kill him or if you like pretty much want to kill off one of like the 3 characters. So it actually there's different endings depending on like what you choose. And then the last time I played through, I chose to keep all of them, and I have a hard time not choosing to keep like the 3 main guys because you get like kind of connected with like their character. And
of course,
then after it's all over, you can still go and play. You pull off this giant heist at the end, so you can basically play the game freely where money's not an issue after the game is over. But yeah, it's cool how they do that. So, I mean, the game story is the same. Like, your choices don't necessarily matter at all up until the end, really.
Okay.
That's dope.
Nice.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's I can't say that I played that campaign, but I did read the story on Wikipedia, and it was very intriguing. It's good stuff.
Yeah, of course you did. As is tradition.
Why not? As is tradition. All right, Patrick, what you got?
Yeah. So I'm going to cheat a little bit, and I'm going to say the Mass Effect series.
Really?
So, yeah, I absolutely love anything that has to deal with space. So, like any space travel, like No Man's Sky, I loved that game. I know it got a lot of hate at the beginning, but I love just flying in space. It's one of the things that really draws me in. But the Mass Effect series, there was so much like story and lore behind this game. It was one of the only games series that where I wanted to read everything. So in this game, there's like you could pick up history notes and letters and things like that. Like sometimes when you're in a game this big, you're like, I don't have time to read all this, you know. But this game, I'm like, oh, I got some history about what the Reapers are, or who Saren is. Why is he? What is his reason for being there? And it brought me in so much, and I just wanted to eat it all up. And I think it's because I read so much of it in the game and found out what the backstory is and the motives of every single character. I think I felt connected to more characters than I would if I didn't read all that stuff. But yeah, I loved that entire series. Even at the end of Mass Effect 3, when they give you 3, random, there's the ending is 3 different choices where it really doesn't affect much. Like everything you did up until this point means nothing, because none of those decisions had anything to do with your entire journey. And going back to what I said about Uncharted is there was a great journey and a great ending, whereas Mass Effect's ending wasn't great, but the journey was just so much fun.
And Patrick, remind people, because at the time there was a huge stink about the ending of Mass Effect 3. And what's crazy is I thought there was only 2 choices to be made. Like, it wasn't until I read a bunch of stuff that I found out there was a 3rd choice. Can you remind everybody what the choices were at the end of Mass Effect 3?
So basically there was just there's light, dark, and then neutral. So
okay.
The light would be, hey, you would kill all the Reapers and life would continue on. The dark,
and you had to kill
be,
yourself in that.
Yeah,
I think that one might have been like the 3rd choice.
Oh, okay.
Where you would kill yourself and then like the life would continue on, or you would let the Reapers reset the entire galaxy. And basically that's like no matter what choices you made up until this point, it didn't matter because you still had the same choices. So I think they had redone the entire ending where they gave you another choice.
Yeah,
the synthetic choice.
I can't remember what it was. I didn't go back and replay the entire thing because I was satisfied with the choice that I made. I
think that was the green choice, the synthetic choice, because I played it after the patch and it let you merge everybody. Like everybody merged into this synthetic existence where you're both organic and whatever the Reapers were, and like everybody existed in peace. together.
Sentient beings.
Yes,
Okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because I feel like I chose whatever choice killed him. I remember like him crawling to, you know, I don't know. I don't even remember. But I remember being like, why is everybody so upset? Like, I didn't understand why anybody was mad.
I thought it was an okay ending, but yeah, it's the story that led up to that point was really what really got
Loved
me.
Mass Effect.
Yeah, it was so good. I think for me, the only thing, I too played it after the stink. Like, I didn't play it originally. I played it a little later on because I got into, I'm always delayed by a year or two, just living that missionary life. But I played it, and when I got to the end, I think what it was for me that I could see where people could get a little upset is the fact that what you already alluded to, Patrick, where your decisions before don't really matter. And to me, what would have made a good ending is if the AI, that AI kid that you interact with, if he would have said, based on the decisions you've made to this point, here is the result. Like, here is what's going to happen. And you get that red ending or you get that blue ending because that's primarily the direction you went.
Yeah, because
that's
I could
where
just
I think
flip and
I would
turn
have preferred
bad at the
that.
very end. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like, what if I did the good ending the whole time? Yeah, and then chose the red ending. Like, I'm going to go evil. I'm like, that doesn't
it don't make any sense.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's the only thing that I could see being a problem with. But I love the journey, like you said, Patrick and Gabe. The journey was fun, and it was like you were invested in the characters and the interactions. Like I don't know, like being a dad of two and just your time being limited, I don't always appreciate the extra stuff they add in where you're like at home base and you can go talk to everyone and have conversations. It can get a little tedious, and it's like, okay, let's get in the missions, let's do things. But with Mass Effect, it was always fun to like connect with the characters, learn their backstories, do those side missions, like the one guy in Mass Effect 2 where you went to find like his dad was on a planet, and you had to discover the mystery of what happened to his father and helping him make peace with his dad and all that stuff. Like, that was really good storytelling. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Am I next? Yes, I think.
I think you are.
Sure.
Yeah, all right. So my number 2, my second story that I adore and actually enjoyed the whole series, but I can't say that I enjoyed the narrative. It wasn't at the top of my list until the most recent game, and that is God of War on the PS4.
Nice.
I think in part because the first 3 games were so like going a certain direction. When it got to the most recent one, the quote unquote reboot or whatever they called it, remake, that wasn't really, it's actually a continuation of the other games. Like the father-son journey between Kratos and Atreus and the whole just everything that happens. And I love mythology for one. So I love the first games. I love Greek mythology. And then introducing me and teaching me all the stuff about Nordic mythology was amazing. Like opening up the different collectibles and stuff to see the stories of old with the world serpent and all the different gods besides, of course, Thor that everybody knows from Marvel and those kind of characters. Just learning about the different Nordic mythology. And then, of course, just Kratos' journey as a father. I mean, I connected with that 110%. So that narrative for me was absolutely amazing. So throwing out God of War as my second choice. How about you, Mark? What's your next choice?
So, it's not a podcast with me on it without me mentioning something about a Batman game. And so here we are. So I love the Arkham series. I loved everything Rocksteady did with this series. They really paid attention to the actual mythos and background of all the Batman characters. I loved Arkham Knight as a good closing to the story. Now, did I love everything about the mechanics? Sure didn't. Didn't love that Batmobile stuff, but
That's so crazy. I love the Batmobile in that game. I thought it was awesome.
I just didn't care for the tank missions. That's
crazy. I love the tank. I like being able to strafe. I was like, yeah, baby, let's strafe.
Yeah, it just got a little old to me after a while. But
Yeah.
But driving around the city in the normal mode, yeah, I'm great with that. But the overall story, especially how it dovetails off of Arkham City, of course, where if you're familiar with Arkham City, the Joker dies at the end of Arkham City, and so there's some fallout with that. It delves into sort of the inner psychosis between this dichotomy between Batman and Joker, even after he's gone. I love the story with Scarecrow sort of enacting this major plan, which eventually ends in the Scarecrow revealing Batman's identity to the entirety of Gotham City. Everybody knows who he is. Now, obviously, the Scarecrow is defeated, but and I always love when stories when people try to bring finality to a character that has been in pop culture for so long. Like, okay, this is a possible way that we could end his story, and so obviously, his identity is revealed, and so he has these protocols set into place to where they would basically protect the people that he cares about, and effectively ends his campaign as the Batman. And so literally from the jump, from the very beginning of the game, it says, "This is the story of how the Batman died."
I love that beginning right there.
And so I think based on the story that Rocksteady told, it was a great way to end things. And like you see, Batman has to tie up all these loose ends with all his enemies, and then finally he goes back to Wayne Manor, turns on the Nightfall Protocol. Wayne Manor explodes, along with everything that could be found in the Batcave, anything that could be tied with any of his partners, so that they are all protected. I just thought it was a great way to end that story. And what's one way we could end the Batman story? And so, Arkham Knight is definitely on that list.
Nice. Good choice. That's definitely some of my favorite Batman material. Like the Arkham series is amazing. For me, it beats the animated, it beats the movies. I love that version of Batman in that world. And that relationship that he has with Joker is like bizarre.
Second to none.
But it is so good. I mean, Luke Skywalker's voice, what is his name? Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill.
Just totally blank.
Shenmue.
Yeah, Shenmue does the perfect voice for Joker.
Lordy.
Yep. I hope that's Patrick's number one. All right, Gabe, what you got for us? What is your second game?
I'm gonna save the one I was gonna say because I think it'll be different from everybody else's as we round third base. But yeah, I'm gonna go with God of War because you brought it up, Lucas. God of War 2018, same thing, just as a dad. And I've encouraged every dad I know that plays games to play that game because I'm like, the relationship and the struggle. This is going to sound a little weird, but like, I'm one of those guys that I love my kids. I love being a dad to them and having fun. But I wasn't the one that, like, when my child was born, I was like, oh, and just to be a father is like the most amazing thing. I don't have that. It's not in me. And so, and neither did Kratos. Like, he kind of like begrudgingly, it felt like, was a single father. You know what I mean? He was like, come on, no, we're going to go do this. And you can you can feel him grow through the whole thing and like fall in love with being a father to his son. And so that just really attached to me. And I love the way he grew in it. And you could hear it, and you have to give it up for the voice acting. I feel like you could hear it from like the very first boat ride where he felt like he had to tell him a story, and and his son is like, tell me a story, and he's like, fine. So like, some of the last boat rides where he's wanting to tell him a story. And so you're like, just that growth I just thought was so amazing. And then, it's just so fun to play, and the combat is so fun. And he actually, ends up helping and everything with his arrows, and how you could kind of tell him to do certain things, but you didn't really control the son. So I thought God of War was ridiculous, and I love the story of it.
Nice.
Couldn't have said it better. Ronnie, were to our either number one game or just the third game in our top three. What you got
believe
for
it or
us?
not, I have run out of games. My first one was Red Dead Redemption 2. So, and then I said Knights of the Old Republic and Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh, yeah. So is there anything you want to
There you
add
go.
to Red Dead
Yeah.
Redemption that you didn't mention before?
No, not really.
An anecdote? A limerick?
Nah,
A dad joke about
I think the thing that I liked the most about it was basically Grand Theft Auto, but in the Wild West.
Yeah.
There you
There you
go.
have
That's
it.
what it was. Yeah.
Put that on the
sure.
box if they haven't already. It's like Far Cry 3 at Skyrim with guns.
They could have like 8 different boxes for that game with how many versions of that game are out.
That
so.
They probably have 20 different boxes. And PS5 will have an Xbox
Yep.
Series X. They will also
Oh my
have
gosh.
a Grand Theft Auto 5 box that they will sell.
If they were smart, that's
doubt.
exactly what they would do.
All right, sweet. Patrick, number one. I can't imagine what it
Okay.
is.
You can't imagine.
Nope.
Okay, so
Power Rangers, Power Grid Battle
no,
Fighters.
No, come on, those stories are awful. It's Celeste. So
Really?
yeah,
I didn't know. Nice.
yeah. It's when we were talking about video game stories. It's the first one I wrote down. It was a game that is not a game that I would ever play. A 2D, like platformer where it's pretty much like, hey, you're gonna get beat up, you're gonna die a lot, and you got to figure out how to get past these levels. And I was like, you know what, this isn't, whatever. But I heard so many people, that, hey, this is a great game. I had no idea what the story was going to be like. There's some people from the Married to the Games community that, like Jared Orr, he says, you should play this game. So it came out free on Xbox Game Pass. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and try it. So I played for a few hours, and I was like, okay, this game's okay. But as I got farther and farther into the story, I found out that the game's mechanic kind of intertwined with the game's story. So the story is the main character has depression, and the goal is for her to climb the mountain, the proverbial mountain. And she keeps dying, meaning she keeps getting knocked down. And then she gets to the top of the mountain, and then she falls all the way and hits rock bottom. And a little transparency. Years ago, I fell into a very, very deep depression, and I just couldn't get out of it. So this game spoke to me, unlike any other game. And I felt connected more to this game than I felt in any other game, just the way this story was told. And it's wild that this game was not even on my radar. I had no idea that this game story was going to be like this. So this one game, this is one of the games I'm never going to play again, because it has some very, very deep storylines in this. It hits some parts of me that I don't want to feel it ever again. You know what I mean? So but yeah, this story was deep, and yeah. So Celeste is my number one video game story of all time.
That's
hands down.
awesome.
That's a really good. I'm glad you mentioned that one, because that one is I've heard good things about that, but to hear it when it connects with you on a personal level just adds to it. It makes me definitely want to play it and check it out. And then along with that, it looks like a fun side-scrolling, challenging game. So
yeah, the art style is straight up your alley.
yeah, for sure, definitely. All right, well, we've come to me, and this next story is pretty fresh on many of our minds. It's one that kind of surprised me that at this point I would call it one of my top 3 stories. And it's kind of like what you did, Patrick, with Mass Effect, where you're like, it's kind of cheating. But I have to say The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2 all together, not just one or the other. Now, before I kind of just give a little context for like why this is my favorite story of one of my favorite stories of all time, I do have to tell all of you who have played The Last of Us 1 and 2. Please, please, please. I just caught up today. I think I had listened to like the 7th podcast of I don't know how many, or episodes of I don't know how many in the official Last of Us podcast. But you guys need to listen to it because it gives context to a lot of the things that maybe you didn't notice when you were playing it. I think 4 out of 5 of us played through it. We all had varying opinions on it. I definitely went all over the place playing this game. There were times when I did not want to play anymore. There were times when I was frustrated. There were times when I had so much anxiety that I was glad that my kids came downstairs in the morning. I'd be like, well, can't play this anymore. I guess I'm going to go to XCOM 2 and Dead Cells. And it was a rough journey sometimes. But now that I've had like a couple weeks, a week, 2 weeks to reflect on it, I've listened to a lot of these episodes from the official Last of Us podcast. Again, please listen to it because it gives a lot of context that you might not get. But I'm so convinced now that this story is just so special that I'm considering someday replaying it and getting the platinum, maybe, especially if there's a part 3. But I'm not holding my breath for part 3. I have no idea what would happen with that. But to me, it's a gripping, perspective challenging tragedy. Like back in the day, there was Shakespeare, and then I feel like, for me, Shakespeare never really connected with me. My wife loves Shakespeare. I do not. But with this game, it just the way everything came out and just goes down, it just shows the importance of understanding before being understood. It shows the importance of acting upon not just your emotions or not just your rationale, but really taking a step back before you make decisions. Now, it does it in all the ways that you shouldn't do things. Like it's kind of like learning how to be a parent by having a bad mom or a dad, but at the same time, it still kind of challenges your perspective. And for me, part 1 is that father-daughter or that parental-child journey that just, to me, really just demonstrates our lack of being able to make the ultimate sacrifice. Because in that journey, as we've talked about before, as we played, Joel can't sacrifice Ellie. He grabs her from the hospital. He kills a bunch of folks. And for me, I have to step into put my pastor, my missionary hat for a second. Like to me, that just demonstrates the fact that we can't be the savior, that we need Jesus Christ. Like that's part of the reason the story is so special, because it shows the fact that we do fall short, that we don't have what it takes to make that sacrifice, when in reality, in my faith, in my reality, Jesus Christ is the one who gave it all. Like God gave his son. And so in making that connection, it just makes it kind of just a way to say, hey, you know what? You can't do it, but he can. And he has already. Like that's the reminder I get from that. I don't stop at the fact that Joel made that terrible decision. It just reminds me, but God made the best decision. And then you go into part 2 where the cycle of violence and revenge and this is never ending. Yeah. And I think to myself, who can stop that? And again, it just reminds me of how much I need God. I need my faith. I need Jesus Christ, who again, he took that step. He stopped the cycle and he gave himself. He not only stopped the cycle, but he got into our shoes. He got into, like, he was God in human flesh, and he came as a baby and he lived his life. And not only does, God tell us, and, people will focus on the religion of it all and following all the rules, but Jesus said, I'm going to do that stuff with you. And he was sinless. And so with all the things that happen in this game, The Last of Us, it's just, I can't help but take it a step further and connect it to the fact that we need God, and we need love. We need sacrifice. And yeah, they're not good examples in the game. Like there are so many bad examples of people in that game, but at the same time, the message is we don't have what it takes. Our failures, our anger, our emotions are going to get in the way. And to me, it helps me then take it to the next step, continue the conversation, and then allow that demonstration of failure to say, but that's okay. We're human. There's someone who can help us, and there's someone who can take us that extra mile, and that's God. And so that's kind of like the roundabout way why I like Last of Us 1 and 2 so much. So I'll step off my soapbox now.
Well
step
said.
down.
I'm just glad Mark is next because I was going to sound like an idiot.
So yeah, sorry to just lay out that on you guys, but it just kind of hit me.
Somebody got an offering plate?
So. Pass it around.
Yeah.
All right, Mark. Let's hear
Okay,
it.
so obviously, as I alluded to earlier, a Zelda game is on my list of favorite stories. Now, of course, when you hear that, everybody's like, "But those games are all the same." Yes, they are variations on a theme. Obviously, you've got in most Zelda games, you have 3 central characters: Link, Zelda, and Ganon, in whatever form he decides to take. But in the Ocarina of Time, which is one of my favorite stories, it's just one of those sweet variations on the theme that I enjoy. And much like Horizon Zero Dawn, Legend of Zelda in the Ocarina of Time is about the unlikely hero, the person that you would think is nobody. Like Aloy at the beginning of Horizon Zero Dawn, she doesn't have or she thinks she doesn't have a mother. She's an outcast. Link doesn't have a fairy at the beginning of and that's yeah. On to much of people's dismay, he gets a fairy, but but he's considered within his community somewhat of an outcast. And so it turns out he's more than that. He is someone who is destined to be part of this journey, and the fact that these characters intertwine throughout the entirety of this game, like the way that he meets, of course, Zelda and meets Ganon, and then several of the characters in the game end up being huge pivotal characters that assist you in helping defeat Ganon. And then of course there's the time travel element, the fact that when the Master Sword is still in the pedestal, you see Hyrule is all nice and quiet and happy and all this kind of stuff, and then you pull that sword and you see this feature where Ganon has destroyed everything. Everything has been ripped to shreds, and Ganondorf has taken it all over. And just the back and forth between that. And yeah, some of it may just be, childhood nostalgia for me, but I think this is one of those games for me that I have played many, many times because I am drawn to the story, because I'm drawn to the characters, and everything that's associated with it. And yeah, like I said, every Zelda game kind of has those common things, that those boxes they have to check, but they're also different. They try to incorporate different story elements, and I think Ocarina of Time was one that resonated the most for me. So yeah, so that's that would be on my list. I would say it's probably my number 1. Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
I do got to give it up for Breath of the Wild because that was my first Zelda game ever, and I forget who was saying it about falling in love with a game late.
Yeah.
I think and that was one of those games.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember what the exact scene, but I feel like you're talking to a tree or something like that.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the game, for me at least. And like all of a sudden I love the game. I was like, oh, holy crap, I love this game. It was just a weird thing for me because I never played any Zelda before. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, Gabe.
Okay, so
Let's hear
again,
it.
like I said, these are not, I don't think, my top 3 ever, but I don't know what it was about this story, but I really, really loved it. And I think the game overall is fairly underrated. It's called Sleeping Dogs.
Oh yeah.
And
okay.
you kind of play an undercover cop that gets, caught up in the triad or whatever it is, the mob there. And I don't know what it was. I just remember really being enthralled with the characters. And I think half of it was that the combat was so cool, and like I think there was like a lot of
Yes.
parkour in it, and like slowing down, and the gunplay and everything was really dope. Now there's a bunch of cussing in it. Like they're cussing so much, like it don't even make sense how much they're cussing in this game. But there was some about sleeping dogs, man, that I don't know. I loved that game, and I just remember really, really enjoying it. And I don't remember there was something about a wedding, and somebody was getting married, and a bunch of crazy stuff popped up, and I just remember really caring and just being taken aback by how much I cared about what was going on in the game. So, yeah, Sleeping Dogs is up there for me, and I feel like it's a game that people don't talk about very often, but it was really, really fun.
Nice. Well, that is all for this deep dive into our favorite video game narratives. There are so many more. We could probably go for another hour, but we're not going to because it is late and I need to sleep, and words are hard when you need sleep. All right. If you would like to connect with us beyond listening, as I mentioned at the top of the show, follow and chat with us on Twitter at the GMG Podcast or Discord. Links in the Twitter profile or in the show notes. But we also do old school, so use our email, thegoodmorningguys@gmail.com. And if you want to be wild and crazy, you can call us at 929-GMG-GUYS. Leave a message, ask a question, and let your voice be heard. Speaking of what should be heard, as always, Mark, what are the latest song additions to the GMG music playlist that any and all can hear on Spotify and Apple Music?
Okay, so of course, we're talking about video game stories, and so the best way that I could kind of pull that in is to incorporate songs that rely heavily on telling a specific story. So the couple additions that I'm adding to the Good Morning Guys morning playlist are the song Eleanor Rigby from the Beatles. You guys know I'm a big Beatles fan.
Eleanor Rigby went to the church where something happened and they said her name. Boop, boop,
Yes,
boop, boop,
yes,
boop,
that's
boop,
it.
boop.
You got it.
Verbatim.
No, it's just it's a song talking about two people experiencing loneliness.
Yes,
and all
that's
the
a good
things
song.
that they
I love
encounter. And the second song is actually a song from a band called Nickel Creek. It's a song called The Lighthouse's Tale. Very, very old school bluegrass sounding, telling this story of, it's basically the lighthouse telling this story of his keeper and his love. And unfortunately, it has a bit of a sad ending, but still tells the story.
Spoilers.
Yeah. So those are my two additions. Now, Gabe,
Yes.
here's the point in the show. Of course, with every guest that we have, we like to allow them to pick a song to add to the Good Morning playlist. So what is your pick, sir?
Well, shoot, since you went with story songs, I got to think of a story song to go along with the theme. And I'm up in the air between two.
Okay. Let's do both.
Oh, you want to do both?
Yeah.
Why not?
Feeling generous.
Okay, we'll go with Ironic
Don't you think?
From
Alanis
Alanis
Morissette?
Morissette?
from Alanis Morissette
Yes.
Nice.
because there are a bunch of little stories in there
There are.
None of them
that
are which are,
that turns out, yeah, that they're not ironic. Just terrible
think?
things that happened. Yeah. And then I'm going to go with by the Crash Test Dummies.
nice.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
Because there's exactly.
There was this girl.
Yeah. And so there was a bunch of little stories in that one too.
There are. Good choices. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I came up with them just now as he was saying the thing. I had a totally different song lined up. For the
Hey, that was your
playlist.
choice. I told you didn't have to go with the theme, but
I know, but you got to, man. If you're a guest in somebody else's house, it's not like, hey, we made you lasagna. And you're like, do you think I could get a burger, though?
Not much of a pasta guy.
Yeah, I'm not a big lasagna guy.
We leave our shoes at the door. Now keep mine on.
Yeah. Exactly. Can't be that guy.
But Hope those songs help you get your good morning on.
Alrighty then, great. Well, next week, folks, or in 5 days, folks, join us for episode 100. Spring break! We will be doing all the things I told you earlier. I'm not saying it again. We're done. So
Lazy host.
just to rewind back to the beginning to hear what we're going to be doing. Housekeeping's already been covered. Thanks. Alrighty then, Mark, Pat, Ron, and Gabe, along with you, our beloved friends, family, and joiners, go get your good morning this week, and may God bless and guide your lives as you live, as you work, and as you game.
Peace!
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes! You read my mind, Gabe. I was like, do it. Do it.